Okay, everybody, dancing through time and technology, the 1950s to present day. This is Deborah, so hope you enjoy the show. The good old days. I'm not sure if you can hear the Chubby Checkers twist in the background, but if you cannot, just know that these were the good old days, and I remember these days. The nifty 50s and 60s. I do remember the 50s, even though I was young. Back in the day, you used to put a nickel in the jukebox and you'd hear your songs. And I was about 5 years old when I first heard that song of The Twist by Chubby Checker. And I happened to be in a restaurant and I just promptly got up and started twisting right there in the aisle. And when the song was done, I got a standing ovation. And that was the beginning of my career. Just kidding, but I do remember the jukebox days. I also remember the telephone days, the old standard rotary dial. And why do I remember that so well? My grandmother worked for the telephone company, and she had to write down physically with a paper and pencil every time a new customer would get a new phone line. She'd have to write down the next number in line. They had drawers and drawers of files, of hand written files of phone numbers for new customers. As I got older and became a teenager, I got the Princess phone. Oh, yes, I thought I was in heaven because I had the Princess phone. It was in my room, and I could call and talk to my friends all night long. My parents could still listen in, and we didn't have separate lines, but still, I had a phone in my room. I also remember the Etch-a-Sketch. That was one of my favorite pastimes, was to draw and try to be creative on this new technology back in those days. And when I didn't like something, I just turned it over and shook it hard and started all over again. More 60s. The Beatles, Ed Sullivan. We used to sit in front of the black and white TV. And yes, only 3 channels, ABC, NBC, and CBS. But the Beatles were the bomb at the time. And every Sunday night we would be sitting in front of the television with our family watching good old Ed Sullivan. Some of our technology back then was the can opener, the toaster oven, and, of course, the phonograph. The can opener on the left and the toaster oven on the right were identical matches to what my grandmother used, and so did we since we lived in her home. And, of course, the styles. Back to the hairstyles, the jewelry, and the good old dot matrix printer. In come the 70s and the 80s. Yes, we were past now the go-go boots. We moved on to Saturday Night Fever with John Travolta. Good old disco dancing. And of course, who could forget Richard Simmons and aerobics and all those wonderful matching leotards and tights. Oh yes, I had my share. More 70s and 80s, fun times. We got to plug in and hook up all kinds of equipment. The good old VHS and the Atari Home Computer Demonstration Center. And my favorite game at this point in my life, Ms. Pac-Man. I couldn't wait to go out to eat and sit in front of one of those arcade games and just eat up all of those little people on the arcade game. Miss Pac-Man, she was my hero. But we also took our music everywhere we went with that good old boombox. Yes, ma'am, yes, sir. Cassette tapes all the way. Love the hairstyles, too. Moving into the 90s. Tamagotchis. Discman, AOL Online, PlayStation, Furbies, and Trolls. And the advent of the World Wide Web. This is when computing got very important and very exciting in the 90s. This is when I was going through my master's program and I could actually research an article online. It was so exciting. But you had to kind of wait in line and you had to pay a fee to use a computer. And here we are, 21st century. YouTube. You can broadcast yourself. Oh yes, new transportation as well. Music that you can put in your pocket. And a Band-Aid sized medical indicator. Hydration, UV exposure, body temperature, and heart rate. Couldn't get any easier than that. Technology. It's a given. It's not a debate any longer. So here we are. This is what our classrooms will be looking like. Or who knows? They may be past this by now. All the different audio, visual, digital parts and pieces of the 21st century. The new alphabet being taught to kids nowadays. Apple through Z, A through Z. Very different alphabet than what I learned in school. And where are we headed? And beyond. Who knows what will be coming in the years ahead? How our brains will be affected by technology and how technology will affect our brains. So, you tell me, what score do you give for all of this? Thank you for watching!